Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers to the drawing on April 11th, 2018. If you want to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, to help assist you in picking your own numbers, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. I have 7 strategies with my game, Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This represents all 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 2, 17, 20, 38, and 39. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with orange, then green, blue, and purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So for this drawing here, I have 13 red numbers, 16 orange, 16 green, 20 blue, and 4 purple. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so just a couple of weeks ago, this purple had up to 16 numbers. Okay, so that's how much of a swing this has. Okay, so over here to the far right is this 217. This tells me how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings. Okay, and out of this 217 drawings, 116 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 77 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 21 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 4 times out of 217 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so over here, this number 3, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there was 2 purple numbers, 2 green, and a blue for 3 colors total. Okay, so how I use this is I try to correctly guess what the next number will be here. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy here is to reduce the numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me do that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these colors won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that no purple numbers will be coming up. Okay, so I've been picking purple for the last couple of drawings, and I've been getting burned on this. Okay, so you can see that the purple numbers are right here. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking purple is because it only represents 4 numbers for this drawing. Okay, and another thing, through the history of all these drawings here, usually a purple will come up like 1, 2, 3 drawings and then have a miss to it. Okay, so what I mean by miss is like right here, you can see that there's no purple numbers to it. Okay, so again, I just don't think that any purple numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to eliminate these purple numbers off of the game card. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can see that there's no purple numbers here on the game card. Okay, so when I block out a number like this, this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the Power Play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these purple numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my pick and none of these purple numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers, okay? And how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number, okay? And over to the right here are the numbers that just came up in a lottery. Again, the numbers are 2, 17, 20, 38, and 39. Okay, so that comes out to be a 4-group combination. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card and see what I'm talking about. Okay, and what you're going to see here is that there's 7 groups total. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9, and then it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so 2 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, so I like to break things down into 5. For one reason is when I go back into the history, it's easy to count as far as 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on. Okay, but my theory is that if there's been a lot of hits within a certain group of numbers within these 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 or vice versa. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is try to reduce the numbers. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that no numbers from the 1 through 9 are going to come up. So I'm going to eliminate these numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. Okay, so another way I could use this is that I could just point out a certain number like this 21, okay, or even this 20. Okay, so as I go back into the history of things, okay, I can see what colors have come up for this 20. Okay, so you can see so far it was a purple, orange, green. There's a blue. There's a green. Okay, the one thing that I haven't seen is a red yet. Okay, so as I go back up through, okay, so when this 20 is in the red area, like it is right now, okay, maybe I'll consider taking a 20 because it hasn't been read in a very long time. Okay, so another way I could use this is I try to guess what the next number will be here. Okay, for the most part, it does come up a 4. So as I go back into history, you can see how many 4s there are. Okay. And the close second is 3, a 3-group combination, okay? And then every once in a while, a 5 will come up, and then every once in a blue moon, a 2 will come up, okay? And I've never seen a 1 before. I've never seen all 5 white winning Powerball numbers in one group, like all 60s or whatnot, okay? So I'm going to go back to the game card, and I'm going to eliminate the 1 through 9 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so again, I bet that no purple numbers will be coming up in the from the color code. And now I'm going to parlay that bet, saying that no numbers from 1 through 9 will come up as well. Okay, so I'm going to make a bunch of parlays, and that basically means add on. Okay, I'm going to add on more bets to reduce the numbers. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and divided it into 4 different groups, and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball lands, the 5 white winning Powerballs land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage again, and the 5 white winning numbers that came up were the 2, 17, 20, 38, and 39. Okay, so as I go back here, you can see that the 2 and 17 are in the red, okay, and the 20 is in the red as well. Okay, so when I go down here to the red, you can see that there's a 3 there. And again, that represents the 2, 17, and 20. Okay, so over here in the blue, you can see that there's no numbers there, okay? And there's no winning numbers in the orange area, and there was 2 in the green, and that's the 38 and 39. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers were going to come up in the drawing, I could have eliminated all these orange numbers and really gave myself a much better chance at picking the correct 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is I have 15 of these option cards, okay? And the reason why I have 15 is because I want as many options as possible to pick where that zero is going to pop up, okay? So here at option card number 2, you can see that I use all the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, and green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so here you can see that all 4 colors were represented. So when that happens, I call that a row. Okay, so when I go back in the history, I can see where all these rows are. Okay, so if one hasn't hit in a very long time, then I'll think that it's due to hit. Okay, so as I keep on scrolling over here, you can see that this big gap right here, okay, between this row and this row, when there's a big gap like that, well, it's due to hit. Okay, so when I think that something's due to hit like this, then I want it to represent, I want the 5 white winning, what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers to represent each one of these 4 colors in a certain option card. Okay, so again, the object is to reduce the numbers. Okay, so the first pick I'm going to make is option card number 2, no orange numbers. Okay, so the reason why is because it hit 13 drawings in a row, and what that means is that one of these orange numbers have come up in the last 13 drawings. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, and because there was a double row right here, and there's a single one up here, I just think that there's going to be a 0 within one of these colors here. Okay, and because the orange has a lot more hits within all the drawings here, a lot more than the green, a lot more than the blue and the red. Okay, so I just think that this is the one that's going to have a 0 to it. Okay, and again, if it has a 0, then that means that none of these numbers will be coming up, hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate all these orange numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so you can see down below, group 1, option card number 2, no orange numbers, and you can see that they're all gone. Okay, so how this works is, as I go back to the group 1 here, okay, you can see that the 69 is right here. This shares the square with the 53. Okay, so what that means is that as a group, I'm going to eliminate all these orange numbers, okay? And that group represents the 53 and the 69 as well as all these other numbers. Okay, so all I'm doing here is keeping track of groups of numbers and trying to predict whether they're going to come up or not come up in the lottery. Okay, so I'm off to my next pick, and that's option card number 4, no orange numbers. Okay, so why I'm picking this one is because I see this double row right here, okay? And when that happens, usually there's a 0 that follows, okay? So as I go back to this double row right here, okay, you can see that the one that missed was the blue and the red area. Okay, so at least there's usually at least 1 0. Okay, so again, I think it's going to be the orange. Okay, and the reason again why I'm picking this one is because up here, this 45, this represents how many blue areas there are in this column. Okay, and of course here's a blue area which represents a 0. Okay. So over in the red, there's been 73 blue areas, 61 in the blue, 53 in the green, and again, only 45 in the orange. So it's way behind, so I think that it's due to have a couple more zeros to it to catch up. Okay, so again, I'm going to eliminate these orange numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card, and I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so down below it says Group 1, option card number 4, no orange numbers, and you can see that all these orange numbers are gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 1, and my next pick is option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, you have to forgive me here, my computer's kind of lagging. Okay, so here's option card number 7. Okay, and again, I don't think any green numbers are going to come up. Okay. For one reason, you can see that's a 46, and that's much lower than all these other ones over here. And as I scroll down through, you can see that there's a bunch of single zeros here. Okay, so at some point, these single zeros are going to double up, like right down here. Okay, maybe even triple up, or maybe have a bunch of zeros in a row here. Okay, so because there's so many single zeros here, I just think that it's due to double up now. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which means that I don't believe that any of these green numbers will be coming up in the drawing. So I want to get rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate these green numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so underneath you can see Group 1, option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so again, if what I'm doing is trying to guess whether these groups of numbers are going to come up or not come up in the drawing. Okay, so if I made all the correct picks so far, and none of these numbers that I blocked out come up in the drawing, then that means that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these numbers still left on the board. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 1 for one last pick. And that's option card number 14, no red numbers. Okay, so as I scroll over, again, I have 15 of these option cards. And again, I think that it's going to be right here in the red. Okay, so you can see that this has 71, 61, and 56 and 50. So even though that this has a lot more blue marks, you can see that there's 2 rows here. So because this has 11 drawings in a row where a red number has come up, I just think that it's due to miss. Okay, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so that means I don't believe that any of these red numbers will be coming up in the drawing. So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card. Okay, so I'm back to the game card, and I'm going to scroll to the right here. And again, underneath, you can see option card number 14, no red numbers. Okay, so I'm really getting the numbers down here. Okay, so hopefully I made all the correct picks, and none of those numbers that I said weren't going to come up. Hopefully they don't come up for me. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from Group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my Group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like Group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So 3 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to point out this red area right here. and I keep the stats for the red right down here. And I have 8 different colors: red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. And I also have 15 of these option cards, okay? And they all kind of look the same as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so my first pick here is going to be option card number 2, no yellow numbers. Okay, so how I use this again is I'm going to blow this up just a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to point out the red area right up here. Okay, the 1 through the 8 and plus the 66. Okay, so here I like to keep track of the stats with by every 5 drawings. Okay, and the reason why I do this is because it shows me a majority. Okay, so if there's 3 or more zeros, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 3 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so as I go down through the history of things, when I see something getting really hot, well, because the lottery is so random, nothing can stay hot forever. Nothing can stay cold forever. Nothing can stay hot forever. So when I see something that's really hot, I know it's gonna switch at some point. Okay, so I just have to correctly guess when that's gonna happen. Okay, so over here in the yellow area, as I scroll back up through, you can see that it's yellow right here. Okay, that represents the yellow numbers, the 57 to the 64. Okay, so as I scroll down through, you can see that things have been really, really hot here. Okay, and now I just think they're going to start cooling off. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so I can't get the thing to come up here, but I think there's going to be a 0 right here. So that means I don't believe that any of these yellow numbers are going to come up. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate all these yellow numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down now. Okay, so it says right here, group 2, option card number 2, no yellow numbers. Okay, so as you can see, the 57 to the 64, there's no numbers there now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is option card number 3, no purple numbers. Okay, so again, you have to excuse my computer, it's lagging really bad. Okay, so here's the purple numbers, the 66 down to the 32 and the 33 to the 57. Okay, so reduce this back down to 90 here. Okay, so here's the purple right here, and I'm going to go down into the stats, and you can see that things got really, really hot. Okay, and now I think they're going to cool off, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so as I head back up, again, I want to get rid of these purple numbers because I don't believe that they're going to come up. Okay, so this includes the 8 and the 66 as a group along with the rest of these numbers here. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to scroll to the left now. Okay, so you can see at the bottom, group 2, option card number 3, no purple numbers. Okay, so you can see that there's nothing here anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is option card number 4, no yellow numbers. Okay, so again, here's the stats for the yellow, and as I head down through, you can see that things got really, really hot here, and now I think they're going to cool off, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so I'm going to go back up, see where these yellow numbers are. Again, it's the 65 to the 28 and the 61 to the 64. So as you can see, the 27 and 28 are still alive there. So as I scroll over, you can see that the 27 and 28 are gone. So hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, And my next pick is option card number 5, no green numbers. Okay, so here's the green numbers here. Okay, so here's the stats for the green, and as I head down through, you could see things were like 50-50 all the way down, and now things got really, really hot, and now they're starting to cool down. So I think that there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't think that any of these green numbers are going to come up, so I want to eliminate them off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left. And you can see option card number 5, no green numbers. So you can see that all those green numbers are gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And one last one that I'm going to pick is option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so you can see the green numbers here. Here's the stats for the green. So as I head down through, you can see that things have been really, really hot. And now I think they're going to start cooling off. So I think there's going to be a 0 here, which means I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up in the drawing. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to scroll to the left. And you can see what's left on the game card here. Okay, so again, I started with 69 white ball numbers on the game card. And now I'm down to 3 here and 4 here for 7 total. I get 7 left. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct picks of the numbers that aren't going to come up in the lottery, then the 5 white winning numbers have to be within these numbers still left on the board. Okay, so again, the magic word here is if. If I made all the correct picks, then again, the 5 white winning numbers have to be within these numbers still left on the board. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what happened one time is I reduced the numbers down to 10, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within those 10 numbers that I still had left on the board. Okay, I only got 2 correct that day. Okay, so when that happened, I came up with this 50-50 picks to help me really pinpoint where the winning Powerball numbers will be. Okay, and how this works is, again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, so there's going to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so how this works is this 262. This tells me how many drawings I kept track of so far. And that's since October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so out of this 262 drawings, 132 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 130 drawings have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so I think that's pretty amazing. Okay, that it's only 2 drawings off. So for this drawing here, because the majority has been evens for the last 4 drawings, I just think that the majority will be odd numbers for this upcoming drawing. Okay, so when I pick my numbers, I want it to represent, actually, I'm going to go with more, sorry about that, I'm going to go with more even numbers. I think that it's going to have a little run here. Okay, so I'm going to pick more even numbers than odd numbers. Okay, and I think it's going to catch up to this 132. Okay, so sorry about that, but I think the majority will be even numbers for this drawing. Okay, so over here, the next one is high and low. So you can see that the majority has been 129 drawings for the majority to the high numbers, and that's these red numbers right here. Okay, and 133 for the low. Okay, so you can see that the 66 and the 67 and the 65 are all in the low area. When those numbers do come up, I do record them as low numbers. Okay, so it only matters on how I record them in the stats. Okay, so over here, the next one for the 50-50 is left and right. Okay, so the majority to the left side have come up 130 drawings, and for the right side is 131 drawings, which again, I think that's just amazing for all these drawings. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here, so I'm going to leave that one alone. And then the next one for the 50-50 is this blue area and this red area. And you can see that the red has really dominated over the blue, 148 drawings to 114 drawings. Okay, and I'm not going to pick this one as well. I'm only going to go with, I think there's going to be more even numbers, and I think that there's going to be more numbers to the high side than the low side. Okay, so as I go back here, I think that this low will hit here, and mostly because there's a single blue, single blue, single blue, another single blue, and then finally it has a little run here. Okay, so because there's so many single blue marks here, I just think that it's going to double up. So I think there's going to be I'm sorry. I have my notes confused there. I'm going to go with more high numbers than low numbers, okay? Just because this is 129 and this is 133, I think it's going to catch up a little bit, okay? Sorry, I didn't read my notes right there. So, again, I think there's going to be more high numbers than low numbers, okay? And again, I'm not going to guess at the left and right thing here, and I'm not going to guess at the red and blue. Okay, so over here, this represents the Powerball number itself, the red ball number. Okay, this number 20, this red ball. Okay, so there's 26 red ball numbers total. Okay, so in this column here, if you see a red number, then that means it's high, 14 to 26. And if you see a blue number, then that means it's low, 1 to 13. Okay, so over here in this column, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. And if you see a blue number, then that means it's evens. Okay, so for this thing here, I think that this is going to be blue, which means it's low. And I also think that this will be blue as well. So I think the Powerball number will be a low even number. Okay, so as I go to the game card here, I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so again, I thought there was going to be more even numbers, okay, and more to the high side, and I'm going to get rid of that right here. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next strategy. And strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from groups 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm just going to pick from group 1. And here, I think there's going to be lots of hits in the brown area of group 2. Okay, so what that means is as I come back here to group 2 here, again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors to them as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. So that means that there's 15 red areas, 15 blue areas, 15 orange, and so on. Okay, so I like to keep track of that, and I call that the Group 2 overview. Okay, so this is the Group 2 overview right here. Okay, so what you're looking at here is this is the red area right here. Okay, so down here you can see that there was 7 hits and 8 misses. Okay, in the blue area there was 8 hits and 7 misses. Okay, so the magic number here is 8. Okay, so if there's 8 or more misses, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 8 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so now I just have to look at the colors here. Okay, so for here, again, I think that there's going to be lots of hits in this brown area right here. I think it's going to be red, which means that there's going to be at least 8 or more hits. Okay, so as I go back to this group 2 here, okay, and I head down, you can see that the 0 means a miss and the 1 means a hit. Okay, so for this last drawing here, you can see that there was a hit in the red area, one in the blue. There was a miss in the orange. There was a hit in the green. There was a miss in the purple, a hit in the brown, hit in the gray, and a miss in the yellow. Okay, so over here, this number 5, this represents that it hit 5 groups. Okay, and the drawing before that, it hit 3 groups. Okay, so if the majority of the hits were over here to the left side of this column, then I color it red. If the majority of the hits were over here to the right side, then I color this green. Okay, so if there's a bunch of red here, well, eventually the majority of the numbers will be over here to the green side. Okay, so that's the theory on things. Okay, so again, I think there's going to be lots of hits in the brown area of group 2. So what that means is that this is option card. This represents option card number 1. So as I look at number 1 here, this is the brown area. And I'll head up and show you the brown again. Okay, so the brown runs from the 6 down to the 62. So when I look at the game card, you can see the 6 down to the 62, there's nothing there, so I put a 0. Okay, so I'm going to go to option card number 2 here and show you the brown area. And you can see this, the 41 over to the 48. So as I go to the game card, you can see that the 42 and the 44 are still left on the board. So I wrote those down right here. Okay, so I did that with all 15 option cards. And this is what I got. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 12, 23, 40, 42, and 44. Okay, so with this combination of numbers, this will give me 10 hits and 5 misses in that brown area. Okay, so again, I thought there was going to be more even numbers than odd numbers, so you can see that the 12, 40, 42, and 44 are all even. Okay, so that will give me the majority, and I thought the majority will be to the high side too. So you can see that the 40, 42, and 44 are all to that high side as well. Okay, so that's how I use my game. Okay, so again, if you want to use my game to help assist you in picking your numbers, then you can go to my website at www.patreon.com/decoding the Powerball. Okay, so what I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to build a community where people share their picks using my game/system. Okay, so again, if you're interested in using my game and would like to meet others using my game to share picks, then please go to my website. Okay, so if you have any feedback, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, so there's no the here. Okay, so it's just decodingpowerball@gmail.com. All right, folks, I appreciate you watching. If you like the content of my channel, then please subscribe. Okay, and as always, I always like to wish people the best of luck with your picks.